This fear is not live. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that would kill me, man.
That's old school.
Yeah.
just
All right.
checking right now. We are live.
Playing today.
Let me just check audio real quick.
Okay.
Was that some
I.
Hitman?
Oh yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. Let me tweak this out myself, and then we
Only
will.
picking the you only pick games where you have to think in, huh?
All right, we're good. We're good
I
on
know, right?
audio.
We're good on audio.
Good. Yes, sir.
Cool. All right. Let me tweet this out, and then we can get started.
All right, I'm gonna retweet your tweet then.
All right. You saw what Jeff Grubb just tweeted?
Um, was it the whole Sony asleep at the wheel thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I briefly saw it and I read like the first two lines and then I went look at our podcast Twitter.
Okay. Which is more important? Yeah, I feel that.
Glad to know I got my priorities straight.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I see it. Why do you want to talk about that?
Um, I feel like that will kind of like naturally like relate to MLB on Game Pass and that topic and whatnot.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll keep it over here then. All right, but we're good to go whenever you are ready, Soul.
All right.
Walt, you doing good, man?
We good. Doing good.
Alright.
Kind of sleepy, but I'm good.
Well, wake up then, Walt. Come on, man.
No, I want to sleep. Bye.
The
I'm
hell- the
sleeping
hell-
during the podcast, guys.
The hell's going on, man?
Come on, man. Boricua, you
yeah.
gotta drink that cafe.
I
Yeah.
drink cafe, got that reflux. Then I'm awake. It's just doing. I'm trying to like just kill everything I have for uni, and I stayed up so late because next week is spring break, and I don't want to do absolutely anything. So I'm trying to do everything. Ugh,
That's what's up.
yeah,
That's gonna be fun.
All
for
right.
sure, man.
Okay, let's get started.
Get it.
All right. Welcome back, guys, to the 8th episode of the DualShock and Sense Podcast. I am your host, the connoisseur of anime waifus, Soul. With me, as always. Hey, man, you guys gonna giggle every time I make that intro? Huh? What's going on here, man? What's going on?
It's almost as ridiculous as my self-proclaimed title, but go on. Continue.
Man, you know what? Just for that, I'm introducing you last, man.
Oh,
with
man.
me, with me as always, I got my wonderful co-host, Walt. What's going on, man?
That's a
Hey
dagger.
guys, I am excited because we got more glimpses into the one and only mistress. So I'm a happy boy.
Oh, man.
I'm a happy man, and Soul knows because he's not only a connoisseur of waifus, he's a mistress lover,
Oh,
and
man.
we in this together.
Sound like a wedding crasher.
but aside from that, your boy Walter. I was once the Yakuza patriarch, but I haven't played in a while. For now, just you can call me. I might be an Outrider because that's all I've been playing lately. But we'll get into that in a bit.
Interesting. Yeah,
Ooh.
I wanna hear that.
For sure.
What's going on with you, Macho? How you doing?
What's going on, everybody? It's the King of Kingdom Hearts and the Final Fantasy fanatic coming at you here for DualShock and Sense. I'm excited for this morning. We got a lot of great topics to talk about today, and yeah, man, I'm pumped. I'm excited to talk about what games we've been playing because I've been playing one very hardcore. If you've been paying attention to my Twitter, you know which one it is. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into these topics.
Yes, sir. So as always, man, we are going to start off by talking about what games we've been playing, and I actually been playing some pretty cool stuff, man. So yeah, let me start first, and really quickly, Persona 5 Strikers. I jumped into that after God, I don't remember when was the last podcast I talked about it, but that was literally the last time I played the game. So it was nice to kind of hop back in there and yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm starting to like it took me a while to get used to the combat, but I think I
Mm.
have a firm grasp on it now. Um but yeah, I'm really enjoying it, man. Just any time that I can be around the Phantom Thieves is just a great time. Um Walt, how have you finished it yet, or what? How are you doing in your playthrough?
I'm pretty sure. I am almost certain I'm on the last jail. Um, because I played so much, it's in such a short amount of time. I am taking a break of it because I didn't get tired of it, but it's it's not as diverse as obviously Persona 5. It is a Musou game, so I only can play it for so long without getting, a little bit bored. Although
Right.
it's the only one I've played for as long as I have out of all the Musou games. But
Yeah.
I'm I am on the last jail because I know who the boss is, and if there's something else after that, it's going to be a probably an ending of Persona 5 kind of thing. Um,
It probably is. It's Persona. It's never that simple.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
probably going to be some god or something, but yeah, I think I'm finishing it. But yeah, I haven't played in like a week, so we're on the same boat. What about you? Did you feel like you're making progress on it, or not?
Um I'm still so like I know I like I completed like some mission objective. It was like I don't know, it was something along the lines of like turning on like these three kind of like generators or something like that in the first jail. Um but yeah, I'm making a little bit of progress. I'm like 6 hours into the game, so like not it feels like
Mm.
I'm barely scratching the surface, but really I was just trying to focus because like I had God, who did I have? I think I had like Yusuke and like On, I think, who were level 6, and everyone else was like level 7, 8, or 9. So I was kind of working on trying to get them higher levels.
Grinding, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of
Gotcha.
grinding. Um so yeah, that was kind of like what most of that playthrough a couple days ago was entailed. Um, but yeah, man, I'm definitely enjoying it. It's definitely fun, and like I said, man, just the fact that it's a sequel to Persona 5 is just the coolest thing to me, man. That it's an actual continuation. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's the coolest thing to me, man. Um, so yeah, aside from that, the big game that I've been playing this week has been. Did you guys see that on screen?
Hmm.
Did you
No,
guys?
I
Oh, you did
didn't.
it? Damn. Okay,
No,
okay.
No.
no,
Uh,
because I'm searching
Oh,
other
now I
stuff
just
for a
saw
moment.
actually. I just saw it now. Oh my
um,
God,
No.
did he die?
no, no, I think I think he's just unconscious. It's all right. We're good. We're good. He's fine, man. I gotta pick this up, man, before anyone sees. Um, so the big game that I've been playing this week has been a little game called Disco Elysium. Um,
Ooh.
the director's cut just came out the 30th, I believe, of March.
Hmm.
This is a really weird game that I don't know if I can truly like do justice in terms of explaining what it is, but I'm gonna try my best. And well, I might need your help, but
I'll try. Yeah, I haven't gone too deep into it, but I'm a little drenched in it. I'm a little drenched in it.
oh man, poor choice of words, man. You could have said something else. You had tons of words you could have said other than that,
Listen,
but
listen. I'm looking at my screen, and Alan Wake showed up, and there's a lake, and just thought of wet, and I
uh,
just thought of drenched.
Would you
all right,
say
man.
that it made you moist,
Yeah, I guess
Walt?
so.
Jesus Christ.
But all right,
What
man.
were we saying, Jay?
You you do you, man. I'll leave it at that. Okay, so man, how do I explain this? So it's essentially a one of those classic CRPG games. When Fallout was like a legit choice-based RPG, um
That's
it,
Jay.
it's a game like that, and essentially story wise, you're this detective who wakes up with this like incredible amount of amnesia. Like he doesn't even know his name, his job, like where he is. He doesn't have any clothes when you wake up. He doesn't know how he got there. So it's your job in the beginning to kind of piece all these things together. Um, and the thing is that so like world wise, you're kind of in this setting that has these undertones of like racism, but it's also it feels like a powder keg just like waiting to blow because there's like the whole city is like inciting this revolution almost. Um, and kind of what the biggest thing about this game that I'm finding out is just how quirky and unique every single character you meet or you come across actually is. Um, so like I've met, for instance, this bookstore owner who has this dark secret in her back room that she's like so adamant about you not like going in there to find out what is actually in there. And she's giving you all these warnings that's like, hey, don't go back there, it's cursed, like you're not allowed to go there. So it's like kind of up to you to kind of like speak with her and try to get that truth, like truthfully, like find out like what's behind there, and it's up to you if you actually want to go back there or not. So there's her, there's these two asshole kids who are super aggressive and they're like throwing rocks at this dead body, and one of them refers to himself in the third person and he's just like the weirdest kid ever. There's this one dock worker who's like basically a stoner who's like philosoph I don't even know how to say the word, but just
You
like,
got this.
yeah, that word, you know what I mean. He like theorizing about the sort of work life of dock workers and whatnot. There's another dock worker who's like super racist. So like I've met so many like unique people who feel like in this span who are distinct from one another, which is really incredible. And it's all helped by this dialogue that's super punchy and like it's it's weirdly like funny dialogue, but it's also super dark at the same time. Um, it's the type of dialogue that it's like me looking at it as a writer myself. I'm just like, man, how can I ever hope to write like this, man? It's really incredible stuff. Um, so gameplay wise, it's like there's no combat at all. It's literally you just talking with people and it's like skill check based. So like you have a bunch of these skills in your arsenal, things like empathy, which allows you, like the word suggests, empathize with the people you're talking about. There's another skill called authority, which lets you essentially like assert yourself as a cop to kind of get what you want out of people. Um, there's another skill that lets you hear what inanimate objects are saying, so you get to talk to like your necktie, for instance, your clipboard. It's really wild stuff because all of these skills are they contextualize it in a way that it's like voices in your head. So you have this voice of empathy, you have this voice of um authority, you have the voice of hearing what the stuff in the world is like the necktie, you get to hear that as a voice as well. And all these things are like voices in your head, so like when you're talking to people, all of a sudden the empathy voice comes out and he's like, hey, maybe you should say this. But then at the same time, devil on your shoulder, it's like you're trying to see which one you want to actually like go through and pursue. And I don't know, man. It's just it's pretty wild. And I think for me, what's been the most engaging part of this game is, or when this game is at the most engaging, is when I feel like I'm actually like figuring stuff out. So like you're like I said before, you're a detective, but there will be moments in the dialogue where yeah, you legit have to like piece stuff together And once you actually like feel involved and you actually do get to an answer, you're like listening through all the dialogue and you're like, okay, if this happened, then that means this probably happened. And once that starts happening, it's actually really, really fun. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's a game I've never played before. I don't think I explained it good at all, but it's like I said, it's a game I've never really played before, and I I don't know if I still have a grasp on what this game really is so far because like I said, it's choice based. So literally everything you say in this game in a way matters. Like in the beginning of the game, like I said, you have amnesia in the beginning, and I woke up not having my goddamn police badge on me, and I'm talking to my partner who's downstairs in the lobby waiting for me, and he's like, "You have your badge, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I totally have my badge." And then later in that same sort of mission, um, I get in contact with police HQ, and I just forgot that I told my partner that I didn't have my badge. So I call police HQ, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm missing my badge. Can you guys like send me a new one?" And my partner's like, "But you just told me that you had your badge." So it's like it's things like that that is it truly feels like everything you say, you have to keep up with literally everything that you say in this game because it does, in one way or another, bite you in the ass. Um, so yeah, I don't know, man. It's a really weird game. I'm not sure if I'm like truly enjoying it yet because I don't think I have a full grasp of everything because there's so many systems in this game. But the story, the dialogue, the characters, the world, all of it, that stuff alone is keeping me engaged. So yeah, so someone please take it away, man, because I feel like I've been rambling on. Walt, do you
I do
have?
think
Go
I
ahead.
do think you touched on a lot of important stuff that honestly, it's been over a year more or less because I played it when it first came out on PC,
Yeah,
and I didn't get too far. I probably played only the same portion that you've played, and I've met all those people, what do you call it, the book worker, the
yeah.
book store owner, the dock worker, the kids throwing stones at the corpse. Uh, I got as far as to talking to. Seems like they do work for the dock, but they're also a mobster of sorts,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's when you start really see the like grittiness of this world and the darkness of this world. Because every literally every single NPC has like two lives. They have their facade, obviously, for superficial reasons, and they do have a secret. Everyone has a secret. Even the kids, you see, they have issues. Where do those issues come from?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you put it beautifully. You went into detail. You did it justice. You
Okay.
did well. You did good, kid. You did good,
Thanks,
kid.
man. Thanks, man. I hope I did. Um,
Yeah, I
Macho.
don't see a lot of people talking about Disco Elysium that much
Yeah.
It's
on the
it's they
timeline.
should. It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
an amazing game.
like I see people giving it the praise, but it's like, yeah, it's great again, and then they just stop talking about it. They don't really go like into like, what's really making this one click again, and
Look,
or getting people back into it or new people.
for
So
sure.
I'm glad I got like that breakdown from you, Soul, because I don't really know that much about the game, but from what it sounds like, it sounds very interesting. I don't know if I'll play it personally, but I'd like to
Yeah.
see other people play it because it actually might be really funny to see the choices that they'll make or forget about.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
And
I
like,
might be.
go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. No, I might be wrong to say this, but I do think because people don't talk too much about it, it's either one of two things. It's either too niche and it has its own audience that just keeps it on the down low because they enjoy it so much and they don't want to like talk about it as much, or it's so it doesn't have as many flaws as to talk about it as much. Because usually you hear about games and it's because they're either mainstream or they're controversial or they're just um, I don't know. People just like to shit on it. But Disco Elysium seems like one of those titles, like Divinity Original Sin 2. I compare it to that game because it has that same view. It has that same depth in terms of storytelling, minus the combat. Disco Elysium is very much D&D without combat. It's just
Yeah.
skill checks all around,
Yeah.
which I adore.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I really think it's just that it's a niche game. Maybe I might be wrong. Maybe there's millions and millions of people playing it, but I don't think so.
I
I
mean,
don't
it's a hardcore like PC game. Um,
Oh yeah. And now console, right? It's on console.
Yeah. That's where I'm playing it at, and like I think for that reason it makes it hard to like really recommend to anyone because like gameplay wise it's not the most interesting. Like you're mainly talking and learning about
Mm,
people and trying to piece things together. Um,
a lot of reading.
it's all well actually thankfully with the director's cut they added voice acting so you don't have to read as much.
Ooh,
Yeah, which is
ooh,
a nice
baby, gonna
touch.
get the upgrade.
But what else was I gonna say? So like mainly, like I said, it's mainly talking, learning about people, but it's also like a point and click adventure at the same time. So you're really
Yes.
like pointing and clicking on basically everything in the environment. Um, so there's that element which may not be the most exciting to people, which I totally understand because it's not the most exciting for me. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's the story, the characters, and the world, and just making the main character like legitimately my character and shaping him into the detective that I want to be because since there are so many different ways that you can take this character in, it really does feel like more than a lot of RPGs I've recently played. It truly feels like a game that you can mold this character in whatever way you want to. You want to make him the intelligent, analytical cop, you can do that. If you want to make him a brute, you can do that. My cop, I made him. There's this skill called drama, which is essentially he lies a lot. He's basically like an actor, and he's basically like a slimy, like a weasel cop almost, theatrical, hyperbole almost, and that's the direction that I took him in, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So there's a lot of flexibility with that, and that's the most interesting part about the game for me. Um, so yeah, that's Disco Elysium, man. Yeah, it's
Nice.
it's it's pretty cool. How about you guys?
Oh,
What have you guys been playing?
I'll head off into another like a very hard to recommend title I've been
Ooh, go
playing
for it.
hardcore for the past week to kind of tie in with Souls game. I've been playing a lot. I mean, a lot of Death Stranding.
Ooh,
Ooh,
There's an interesting history with this game because this game released on PS4 what in 2017,
19,
2018,
19.
2019. Oh wow. Oh my
19.
gosh.
Yeah, no,
My
it was
brain
recent.
brains.
It's recent.
It feels like it was forever ago.
Pandemic, man. Pandemic.
Yeah, seriously. No, so it released around then, but a game that also released around that time was Jedi Fallen Order, which was actually the first game that I reviewed, or one of the first games I reviewed for lordsofgaming.net. So, obviously I had to prioritize my time and play Fallen Order over Death Stranding, but I did get at least up to chapter 3, which is where the game opens up, and then once I hit there, I was like, okay, I get it. I can come back to it later. Um, 2 years later, I pick it up on PC and I start playing it. Stop right around the same part and then start playing Final Fantasy 14 again. And then here we are in April, where we're at the beginning of April, where I finish the reviews actually for which, by the way, go check out for Bravely Default 2, Lost Words to be on the page, and It Takes Two. So check those reviews out on lordsgaming.net. But I finished all those reviews. I was like, all right, what's the other game I could play next? And I'm looking at my PS5, and I'm thinking I could really get into Control. I didn't play through it that much. I'm interested. Uh, I want to play something on the PS5. Let's see if I can boot that up. So I get like at least couple, like 20 minutes into it. I'm like, wait, I have Death Stranding on my PC. I should be actually focusing on finishing that. So I did that like around maybe Sunday, Saturday, and I have not stopped playing this game. Like I was like hardcore playing it the entire day for a couple days. And then on Tuesday, I got my COVID shot and I was like, oh man, I'm just not feeling this. I basically slept for like that entire
Wait,
day.
wait, wait, wait.
But I will,
You got your COVID shot? You feel any powers or
yeah.
something yet? What's going on, man?
You know what? My fiance's mom said the exact same thing. Where she was like, she was like, "Do you got your superpowers yet?" I'm like, "If I'm getting my superpowers, I'm in the phase where I'm getting my ass kicked the first time." Like that
Fair
part in
enough.
the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire where like he gets bit by a spider and then he's like he goes home and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just going to bed." I mean, I was in that phase.
Oh man.
Um, so but I was going back and forth between that or at least sleeping and resting in Death Stranding. And last night I got to, I think I'm on the 13th chapter or 12, no, the 12th chapter, and there's like 14
Okay.
of them. So I am almost done, 40 hours in, and oh my gosh, this game, guys. It's like I said, it's hard to recommend, but I feel like it's one of those games that you have to play to understand to really like get what kind of what it's really doing. And
Agree.
it's so interesting what it's doing. Like it's such a different game. I'm happy I'm playing it, and I'm actually playing to the full now because it's so unique, and it's something like I'll always remember for having this incredibly complex story, but also like you can kind of follow along what's going on. Like I don't
Kind
know,
of.
have you guys played it?
Yeah, I played it. I
Been a
played it.
while.
Yeah, I played it when it came out. I'm not. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure what my feelings are on it. Like right now. Well, I know for certain it's a game I'll never return to. That's for sure. Like, I played it. I played it once. I got what I needed from that experience, and like, I don't think it's something I would ever return to. Simply put. Um, yeah, I don't know. I do remember like being like somewhat addicted, not addicted, but like I was definitely like immersed and engaged with the gameplay.
Mm.
um like I got into the minutia, like trying to get my weight exactly right, seeing which ones I could put on my left hand, my right hand, my legs, my back. I got really into like the motorcycle. That stuff was awesome.
Yeah, dude, when it revs up and it sounds like the Batman motorcycle, I'm like,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
yeah. um But yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember too much about the story. But Walt, here, help me out here, man, because I don't really know what to
Honestly, I
say.
mean, man, I'm just as lost as you because I remember the story. I can remember that if I see the characters, I can be like, oh yeah, you did this, and oh yeah, we did this, we were here. If I start playing it right now, I'm like I can jump back right into it. I didn't beat it. I got very very far into it. Um, I think it's the kind of game. I agree with Macho when he says that it's the kind of game that until you play, you won't really understand why it's appealing. For me personally, I think that the more immersive sections of the game are when you're actually delivering whatever you're delivering,
Yeah,
and you just soak up the environment. You just take it all in, and you start hearing the music. Which, by the way, fantastic soundtrack. I love the game
yeah.
soundtrack. I
It's good
downloaded
stuff.
it all on my phone. It's good stuff. And for someone that philosophizes a lot, and I think about a lot of stuff, I use those moments of traveling through the wasteland to just like take it all in and think about, wow, what's like legit. I'm not even bullshit. What's the meaning of life? Like, what is this? What does this mean? Like, I've just questioned. It was a beautiful experience for me.
Yeah, that's why I'm really enjoying it as far as like what Kojima's trying to say in this game.
Oh, oh
Um,
yeah, he's trying to say
yeah,
so
like
much.
by no means like I would call it like a masterpiece,
No, by no
but
means.
I feel like it's a very um unique title for what it is.
I
And
think people should give themselves a chance to play it. I really think
yeah,
that we'll get into that later, but I think they should bring that to Game Pass. Give people a chance to try it out.
yeah, I mean like that's I would like for this to get in more people's hands. I mean on PC is doing incredible.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
the players over on that side love what it is, and I'm loving really what the entire game is, and kind of just enjoying that different experience that you can't really get in any other game, which is nice. Like it has elements that make it a game that make it addicting and fun and really satisfying, but it's also different in the way it's telling a story. If it is really scattered and kind of doesn't make sense a lot of the time, but
Yeah.
you're the intrigue is there, and I'm like hooked into it. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
but as a king of Kingdom Hearts, I had to declare, I'm pounding my fists right now.
Whoa.
I don't want nobody, and I mean nobody, to say that Kingdom Hearts story is complex anymore after playing Death Stranding.
No,
I
no, listen, dude.
swear, I swear on my, I swear on the SquareSoft card
Yeah.
cases and boxes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
If y'all say Kingdom Hearts is complicated anymore and you play Death Stranding, I am calling you out.
Oh man.
Because
People
That's-
say Kingdom Hearts is complicated, and I do say that. I understand it. I'm not saying I don't. It is complicated, but people do say that in spite of having played the Metal Gear franchise, which it's not as, or maybe it is, but it's still complicated.
it has some pretty complex narrative. Like
Kojima has never made straightforward games.
never.
But like neither has Tetsuya Nomura, and neither has he done like absolutely anything that you might
Listen.
argue makes zero sense. But it makes sense at the same time.
Look, man. Look, I was talking to my fiance last night, right? About I was playing Death Stranding and like kind of just like saying how far I was getting and stuff like that. 'Cause we kind of keep each other updated on games we're playing. She's like heavy deep into Stardew Valley and all that stuff. So we're talking about and she was like, "Yeah, I'm watching another playthrough, and it's actually like the themes and like the ideas are like so like weird and creative." And I'm like, "Yeah, I totally agree with you, but Death Stranding makes it look like a kiddie book with like everything that it's introducing and like it's." There's these beaches that when people die, and then like there's like souls, and there's like souls in this baby that's attached to you. It helps you see those dead souls, and then she's like, "What in the f are you talking about?"
I
So
think
like,
that
yeah,
that
Death Stranding is out there.
It's complicated. I think that Stranding is complicated in visual storytelling, but Kingdom Hearts is complicated in like it's lore. It's actual lore. Because
Yep.
in Death Stranding, you're not given any information. You're just shown a bunch of mess and like a beach and dead whales and stuff, and you're like, what is happening? But then in Kingdom Hearts, it's like, oh, that's the Heartless. But then he has a nobody called this. But then when I went back to the future when I met the future version of, what was his name, Xehanort. But then he has a nobody called Zemnis, and I'm like, what is happening? So it's
I got you. Again, we're gonna have our Kingdom Hearts podcast. I'm gonna break all this down for you guys into the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, but I cannot do that with Death Stranding for you.
No,
I can just tell you that
picture.
Norman Reedus is naked for half the time, and Matthew Kelson's a weirdo. So
There's a lot of babies. There's a lot.
there's a lot of babies. But yeah, but just to wrap my thoughts on it, man, I'm really liking it. It's a unique title, and I would recommend it if you're looking for something different and just to really be intrigued by like a sci-fi fantasy story.
I would say like everyone should play it at least once. Like definitely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
It's an experience. Now, you
Absolutely.
guys have been playing more, think kind of games. You got to think about it. You got to take your time. On me, the game I've been grinding away since it came out on Game Pass.
Hey, Macho, he's been playing Minecraft. That's what it is.
I better see you posting your buildings, man. I want to see the structures. What are you building?
I'm gonna show you my no hit, my zero damage run. I'm building
Listen.
Hogwarts.
Oh, let's go.
The game I've been grinding away and playing nonstop, literally nonstop since it came out, has been Outriders on Game Pass for Xbox, and it's by no means as complicated as the other games, but it is a incredibly difficult game. Now, Outriders, I never watched any gameplay. I never saw any trailers. I never even paid attention to its, to the announcements and whatnot. I literally saw it drop. I heard like 2 days ago, 2 days before it dropped, like, oh, Outriders is coming to Game Pass or whatever. I'm like, oh, I'll try it out. I have not stopped playing, and this is by no means that I'm immersed. The story is fairly straightforward. You're in another planet. Earth is messed up. It's uninhabitable. It's been 80 or 70 somewhat years into the future, and you arrived at this planet called Enoch, and you're an outrider, which is essentially a mercenary. You drop on the planet. You're trying to make sure that it's habitable, that there's no variables that might impact the colonization and whatnot. There's 500,000 people. There's only 500,000 people that made it from Earth, so that's the only amount of people that they chose to bring to Enoch. So you're trying to scout, make sure that everything's fine. You get introduced into combat. It's a third-person shooter. I never played Judgment, but I have played Gears of War, and it very much plays like Gears of War in that sense. Obviously, with a lot more going on.
Yeah, I hear the cover-based like mechanic is a lot more like not slicker, but I guess loose.
Oh, for sure. Essentially, so let me get to. Once you land on Enoch, there's a storm, an anomaly, what they call it, and this storm essentially wipes out half of the Outriders, almost all of them, and you get wounded. They put you into cryostasis. They don't let the people know on the ship that there's an anomaly. People start to colonize. You're in cryostasis for like 30 years. And everyone you knew, they're either old or dead. There's been an endless war since literally like the second or third year that they started colonizing. Because essentially, for an example, they let 500,000 people loose in an area that only sustained 50,000 people. So it was inevitable for riots to occur and whatever. So this lush, beautiful planet that you drop in the beginning of the game turns into this wasteland, no man's land, essentially just warfare-filled environment where the anomaly essentially altered you. You're calling altered, creative. And once you start meeting like your past friends and whatnot, they explain whatever. It's just war. You're just trying to make sure that there's like a chance for humanity to like actually bloom and actually colonize and actually like establish their own footprints on this planet without all the suffering and all the death. Because the anomaly essentially just vaporizes whoever it touches, except a chosen few, which are the Outriders in the sense of the story. But there's non-Outriders that became altered. Now the gameplay, it is aggressive as hell. I'm used to take cover, shoot, go over here, strategize. There's none of that. If you want to strategize, you got to strategize in a second. You can only have 3 skills at a time. You can unlock a variety of skills. You got 4 classes. So you have the Technomancer, which is long range, support, gadget. You got your Pyromancer, which is mid range. Scorched Earth, you only have fire abilities. You can cast debuffs and a lot of debuffs, like Ash and Burn and whatnot. You got your Trickster, which in Destiny terms is like the Hunter. It's the DPS, just damage and flanking and just all around aggressive player. And then you have Devastator, which is the tank, which does deal devastating attacks, but essentially your job is to soak up bullets. All of these classes, they do have a skill tree, which you can there's like 3 paths you can choose from, but you can mix and match them and whatnot. It's incredibly aggressive. You cannot stay still. And when I said you cannot stay still, if you get behind cover, there will be an enemy that will make you get out of cover because you have to be on the move constantly. What this game does differently from other third-person, first-person, the sci-fi-esque games, compared to Division or Destiny. You heal through certain skills or by killing enemies, depending on which weapon or which skill you're using. So you're encouraged. Let's say you're in a boss fight, right? And you have like 4 or 5 captains, which are the beefy enemies that have miniguns and whatnot. And you have like 10 or so regular soldiers around. You're encouraged to leave the regular soldiers alive in case you need to heal up. So there's no meth packs. There's no like syringes that you can pick up. There's nothing you can pick up that can heal you. You can only heal through skills and through actual combat, which encourages you to play more aggressive, which in turn reinforces my notion that this game is not one to just take it easy and lay back. All around, I've been grinding away. It's been a while since I've picked up a game and I've played for so many hours at a time. not like consecutively, but in cumulative, I've played quite a bit. I've tried 3 classes already. I'm trying to Devastator now because I started with Pyromancer. Didn't quite click with me. It felt a little bit passive. I tried Trickster. That was a lot of fun. But then I saw Devastator and how its attacks are essentially I feel like they make me feel like more of a badass. So the game emphasizes that in dialogue and in story and just all around environment that this is a game for badasses in terms of like even the main character, the dialogue, the writing. It reminds me a little bit of Borderlands, but not as wacky. But it definitely has that approach of being a bit hilarious and gruesome and just a bit dark. But all around, man, it's an interesting game because it's been a while since I've actually played a third-person shooter. I think the last third-person shooter that I played that actually like caught me off guard was the first Division, and it's been like 4 or 5 years since then. Now, mind you, I don't know if I'll be like this until the future. But for now, all I see myself doing is playing Outriders. Not the only thing. I've been playing. I started Fable, so that's something. I started Fable Anniversary.
Boy, really quick. To that point of you playing in the future, I think that's sort of my big question is like,
Yes,
I've been surprised at how like the game's success thus far. Because it seems like it's doing pretty well. Like it's beating
for sure.
Avengers and Anthem's concurrent players on
Mm-hmm.
Steam and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it's kind of the same issue that like these live service games have in general is to retain players' attention. You know, they need to be able to release content or that carrot on the end of the stick or whatever needs to consistently keep going. So I hope that they can do that because this looks like a big success for this team, and I think this is like their biggest project yet or whatever. So I think
I
that's
think
that's
so.
that's
Yeah.
pretty cool for them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
And
and from what I'm seeing too is like a lot of people are giving the game praise, which is great because people that are playing it are loving it. But it's just a
mhm.
matter of people can actually. I apologize if you hear the whack in the background, but people are actually having problems actually getting into it from what I'm seeing. And
Oh
there's
yeah.
like this whole other side of Outriders where there are gamers complaining, and then is pressuring the team. The team feels like they're pretty much bottlenecked into trying to fix the game, but also trying to please players in time because the game just released. And if they have such like high player count for as far as how many people will stay, if they can't actually get into the game is another question. Which I'm starting to look more into it. I was kind of just ignoring Outriders because I wasn't really that interested to begin with after playing the demo. But I kind of want to see where the story is going, where people are really going to stick with it, even if they're having trouble getting into it, because it's fun. And
Oh,
like
absolutely.
that's what people are really gravitating towards. That it's a fun game, even if I am having trouble disconnecting and stuff like that.
Right.
Dude, and it wasn't unplayable. Not for me. I know a lot of people couldn't even log in, but the first 2 days, it very much kicked me like let's say every 30 minutes or so. But I was so engrossed. It was so fun because again, it encourages you through this aggressive approach in combat, and it keeps you in the loop. And it doesn't feel punishing. It feels rewarding once you beat it. But and the Outriders account, on Twitter at least, they've been going ham with their updates and letting us know, hey, we're doing this maintenance on this server. We're doing
Yeah.
this.
Shout out to
We're
them.
shutting down for this console. Yeah, for sure. Shout out for them on Twitter.
That's
Um,
awesome.
they've been very transparent. They've been just on the nose, just letting us know what they're doing. Earlier, I saw they were doing a maintenance for I think it was consoles or whatnot. Uh, they're doing great. I think it. I'm glad that it's doing so well. Aside, in spite of all this negativity in terms of their servers and disconnecting and people being, because that's nothing new. People, there's always that one side of gaming we saw it with Destiny, we saw it with Last of Us, we saw it with so many games that just it pulls the worst out of people, and it makes them feel as if they're entitled to something. And quite frankly, they're not. Yes, they paid for the game, but you should be aware already. If a game is multiplayer based, if it's online based, be aware. There are millions and millions of people. We haven't gotten to the point, which unfortunately I hope we get there, where servers are automatically, they can sustain millions of logins at a time. That's not the case yet. That's not the case yet. But, but yeah, man,
I agree, because you see people, like, rightfully so, like you said, everyone has a right to be angry that the game that they paid $60 for isn't working, but at the same time, like, I can guarantee that, you know, these teams aren't deliberately, you know,
they're not pulling the plug or anything.
Right. And it's a much more difficult or complex issue than simply having more server space or learning from the sort of disasters of other online games and their similar issues that they've faced. Like, there's no way to really account for, like you said, the millions and millions of players who are jumping on, you know, to their game all at once.
Yeah. And it's on Game Pass, so you're going to have even more people jumping in because they want to try out the game. They didn't even buy the game. They just have Game Pass. Probably people bought Game Pass that day just to try the game.
I just want to reiterate too that we're still all in the work from home phase, so that's going to slow things even more.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. People. If there's two things that this world needs, two big things. Critical thinking and empathy. They need to understand.
Watch what's about to happen on screen right now.
Shit.
You could keep going on your point, but just
I want to pull it up. I'm gonna have it on.
Nice. It just happened. We're good.
Two things that I think that people really need: empathy and critical thinking. Dude, understand, these are human beings behind these freaking servers. What are you doing? Jay, what are you doing?
Hold on.
I saw it. I had to stop you there. Did he just hit his golf ball and it blew up in his face and he fell over the ledge? Is that what just happened?
Yeah. I had an exploding golf ball. So the thing was, what's so good about this game, man, is that there's multiple there's steps to this. There's layers to this, man.
It's nuanced.
First of all, this guy, my target, he's like he was working, and what I did was in his office, I turned on a nearby vacuum cleaner to piss him off, to kind of like, so he would lose focus on his work. So then he got up and he was screaming at the staff. He's like, who the hell turned on the vacuum cleaner and all this stuff. He's like, I'm gonna move to my downstairs office. So I followed him to that office, and there was a radio nearby. So I was like, okay, let me turn this on. And then he was working down there. He's like, what the hell? He was like screaming again. He's like, I need some quiet. And he was like taking it out on the staff while I'm just like hiding in the corner. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to go play some golf. You know what? Like F you guys. So then he goes to the balcony, not even knowing that before all of this, I had already planted a explosive golf ball for him. So he had that waiting for him, but he didn't know. So he went down there. First shot he takes is with the exploding golf ball. As soon as it makes contact with his club, it explodes, and that's what happened. It's beautiful, man.
I just love the doll physics that they have when they die.
It's beautiful, man.
Like the whole body just goes.
It's the best.
flailing.
And when they go limp, when they ragdoll like that, it's the best, man. And now we're gonna do the James Bond getaway. Yeet.
Oh, so slick.
All right.
Dang. Okay. But yeah, we can't. I'm looking at it again. I definitely have to play this game sometime. But yeah, we kind of hit two topics there. I'm glad we touched on Outriders because it has been a topic of conversation as of late.
Yeah, man. because it's just mindless fun. It's so gory. It's so funny. It doesn't take itself seriously. I love it. I love it. It's story wise. I love it. It's all around fun. I hope they continue to support the game and just keep maintenance and DLC possibly, because this is a game I really would like to invest more hours in the future.
Nice. Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. They didn't call it a live service, but I'm sure it's going to have long legs.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
So speaking of Game Pass, let's jump into this
Just
whole
jump into it.
yeah, let's jump into this MLB situation, man. So it was announced Friday, I believe, that MLB The Show, the San Diego Studios PlayStation first party game that comes out every year like clockwork. Who for whatever reason, I don't know why people don't think this, like, are of the opinion that MLB doesn't sell well, which is like, and I don't know why people believe that, because that's absolutely not true. This game is like
It's
what
because it's a sports game. People shit on it. People just shit on it.
it's among like the top 10 MPD every single year it comes out. So
It is.
so I don't know why people say that. But yeah, it was announced on Friday that this game would be coming out on Game Pass, day and date, man. This pretty much shocked everyone when it was announced. What
Absolutely. I woke up and I laughed.
yeah, what are what are you guys' sort of like preliminary thoughts about this? Is Jim Ryan to blame again for this?
Yeah, what up, Macho?
I feel
What
like
up?
I feel like, man, like, this is the trend that I'm seeing. This is what I was kind of talking about the one podcast where we were talking about him. Was that I feel like if there was a goddamn earthquake outside, everyone would be like, "Ah, Jim Ryan again, man."
This is the equivalent of
Absolutely.
Thanks, Obama.
I am in that camp. Mr. Jim make the earthquake Ryan from PlayStation. I got the exclusive deets for DualShock and Sense, okay? I did my journalism.
Ooh.
I got the exclusive deets for you guys of what happened with this deal, right?
All right, go ahead.
So what happens with Phil Spencer
Yeah.
Phil Spencer
Oh, man.
and Jim Ryan were going to go play golf, and then Phil Spencer's like, let's go play baseball instead. So Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer go and play baseball. They get their caps, they get their baseball bats, and they start throwing, pitching, right? Throwing and catching. That's what they do. So what happens is that Phil Spencer brings up this document, and he says, like, here, we have something for MLB The Show. We kind of like want to bring this onto Xbox. Are you cool with that? And Jim Ryan's like, yeah, I'm good with that. Let's do it. So what he didn't
Yeah,
see,
that's
the little...
direct quote.
yeah, exactly.
That's the direct quote.
But so the fine print, the very, very fine print at the end of this document, and this contract says it's going to be on Game Pass. But the thing is, Jim Ryan didn't have his glasses on, so he didn't see it. But he signed the contract anyway because he was going to get the bag from Microsoft. And that's how it came on Game Pass. It was a grave oversight. Jim Ryan, when he saw the news on his Twitter, he's a lurker. He doesn't actually have a Twitter account, so he's a lurker. And he was fist pounding the air. He called Shu to get some ramen, and he was like, "What happened?" And then she was like, "You just didn't read." And he's like, "Dang, I didn't read." So yeah, that's how Xbox got MLB The Show on Game Pass. You're welcome.
This is crazy, man. I don't know what to say. I don't know how.
Exclusive with DualShock and Sense.
Exclusive. You can quote me and everything. IGN, GameSpot. Just if you want me on podcast, let me know. Apple Rico
Yeah.
Macho. Let me
He
know.
said, "Okay, yeah, sure."
No, but break it down for us. So what's going on here?
Yeah. So
I mean, not much from what I said, man. I mean, we did find out this week, I believe, that Sony came out and in a statement or in an interview, and they said essentially that, hey, that was MLB's decision, man. We had our hands tied. They're the ones who own the IP. Like, we couldn't really do anything about it. So, and it's funny to me because, like, you see, once that was sort of like clarified, people, on the PlayStation side, we're like, oh, see, like they had like a sigh of relief. They're like, see, I know PlayStation would never be okay with this, and I'm like,
Oh my
and
god.
I'm like, I'm just kind of like squinting my eyes, like I don't think that makes this any better. Like the optics are still just as bad. Sure, it's nice to have that
Yeah.
confirmation, but this is still like just as bad, man. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, here's the question that I've been thinking of, and a lot of people have really just been guessing or haven't been asking. Is like, did PlayStation know?
oh, I bet they did.
Because I mean, yeah, because yeah, I'm in the mindset too. Like they definitely knew, and they were pissed, but there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah. Cause like I'm sure because we've known since when 2019 that MLB was going to be it was going to be multi-platform, um, and Game Pass was already kind of in its bag doing its thing during that time. I'm sure during that time there was some like preliminary early discussions about having it on Game Pass. And if you're MLB, why wouldn't you do it? That's extra money up front. That's guaranteed money up front, just in case. It's almost like insurance. In case it doesn't sell well on Xbox, you already have some financial like reassurance that it's a good investment or whatever. So on their part,
And
yeah,
it's
And
not like
it has microtransactions, right?
yeah,
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 that's what I was gonna say. It's not
Yeah.
like PlayStation
Okay.
doesn't lose on it because they still get a portion of those microtransactions, and maybe they're not. This isn't a lose win lose situation. It
See,
sounds
I would
it
agree.
doesn't sound bad.
I would agree with that if the game wasn't coming on Game Pass, because
I
since it's on
agree.
Game Pass, I feel like you are losing. Now, it all depends on how many people are
Right,
actually accessing it on Game Pass versus buying
right,
it
right,
straight
right.
up. But I
Mhm.
feel like yeah, you're not, especially if those people don't chip into the microtransactions, you're absolutely losing sales with
So
that
yeah,
fact.
yeah, that would be the independent variable.
Yeah.
That would be like they're depending very much on that, on how well it's received. I mean, I don't know how long it'll be on Game Pass. If it's 6 months, if it's a year. Um, I don't know. I don't know.
I
I don't
mean,
know how much is the interest. If it's MLB calling the shots,
that's
I mean, when you mentioned how the side of PlayStation, a lot of fans were like sigh of relief. You're right. It doesn't bode as well because also for me, I saw it as damn PlayStation. Take a little bit of credit. Like you're still saying like, no, I'm not that open minded. It sounded like that. I wouldn't approve of that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, be
Yeah,
more
the
inclusive.
Xbox like press release too on like the news.xbox, it doesn't, from what I'm looking at, it doesn't even mention PlayStation or the studio. Like we're excited to bring this out or anything
Yeah,
like that.
because they're not the ones. I mean, yeah, obviously San Diego is developing it, but PlayStation's not the
Yeah,
ones who are publishing it on that console.
yeah.
No,
So
for sure, for sure.
yeah,
But
I don't know. It's
I don't
it's
know.
literally the worst possible like outcome in this whole thing because yeah, like I said, because my thing was always with, and this kind of ties in with the Bethesda stuff as well, was that and yeah, it's ultimately smarter that Xbox chose to just make them outright exclusive, but my original thinking was that what an argument it would be if you could say, hey, these games are essentially quote unquote free on Game Pass, but hey, if you want to play them elsewhere, you have to pay full price $70 for them. Like that's a compelling argument, and for a lot of people, they would be like, yeah, sure, hell yeah, I'll go to and play it on Game Pass. Um, but never in my wildest dreams did I expect or ever imagine that they would do that exact same idea with one of PlayStation's own games, right? And that's sort of
Hmm.
like the worst possible outcome that I could think of. And
For the
yeah,
companies, yeah,
yeah,
because I,
for
I see it
Sony.
for because as in a consumer standpoint, this is fantastic. I think that I mean I'm super happy that Xbox players are going to be able to try one of the like biggest titles that Sony has and like long lasting franchise, which is the MLB. Was it the show or just MLB?
The
I
show,
don't
the show, yeah.
the show, yeah. Um, I mean, it's a popular game. It's a great game. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be, happy that they get to play that on Game Pass. But on the business side of things, yeah, it's like you said, it's you know?
What?
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's like
The hell is going
like
on here?
I'm trying to tie my necktie, like yikes, you know what I mean? I don't
No,
know.
yeah, it's a really bad look for PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like really bad. And and the thing is like yeah, from a consumer standpoint, or if you're a baseball fan, you like to play on Xbox or whatever case may be, that benefits you, it's going to benefit you. But for PlayStation and for like the fans that are on PlayStation, it looks really bad because it feels like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And I don't even like baseball like that, but like it honestly, even I felt this thing. I was like, wow. So even if I did want to play this game and only on PlayStation, I had to pay, whereas the people on the other side don't have to pay anything essentially for the subscription price for that month.
Do you
Like
guys
that's insane.
Yeah, that's yeah. Do you guys think this in any way um puts like do you think San Diego Studios is in trouble because of this? Oh my god.
No, I don't think so. I think they're gonna have more work, but
Yeah.
as a studio themselves, I don't think they're going anywhere. I think the MLB has their back if anything, if they were in dire straits. I can imagine too that Xbox is or Phil has chipped into the port of this game as well to make it as pristine as it can be
You
for
would
the
hope,
Xbox
man.
versions.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, because like it's like I guess it really depends if the studio got the Xbox dev test kits or dev kits you know back when those announcements going multi-platform,
Yeah.
and how long they've been working on that. Because was the MLB The Show delayed by any chance, or did it come out with another title last year or something?
No, it came out last year.
It came out last year. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So they've been crunching then. Okay.
uh,
I mean, I don't know, man.
oh man. Oh man.
Ooh, that's like Voldemort. Ooh.
No, I don't think they're in trouble though. But yeah, I feel like they're doing a lot. They're basically working on four different versions of the game, as well as in the cloud beta.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
and if it was MLB that made the choice, then at first, without reading anything, just seeing that MLB will be on Game Pass, my first thought was, "Whoa, does that mean more PlayStation titles will be on Game Pass?" But then then it's MLB, so it's like it's not even Sony. So they do have Horizon on Steam. Yeah, great.
No,
you got Death Stranding.
there's
but,
there's
like,
no way that's happening. I think
the thing.
I
Like,
think this was just a weird rare sort of like like backdoor shady deal that Microsoft pulled out. And credit to them,
hey,
man,
yo,
that they were able to find that
bring over
loophole.
here. Hey, bring over here. We're cozy over here. MLB's like, "Aight." They go back in the back door. Sony's like, "Hey, where you going?" They just start running.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Xbox definitely got their allowance from Daddy Microsoft. That's for sure.
But would you guys want to see like purposefully Sony put Sony games on Game Pass, allowing that?
On their own version, yeah, but not. But why would
No,
you?
but like,
Why would you put
but
it
like,
on?
yeah,
on
they're
what would you say?
like their own version. Yeah, like I'm not meaning like no similarities to what just happened. Like
Oh.
legitimately,
Well, yeah. I don't think they will like anytime soon because like I guess this kind of leads into a more broader discussion on is Sony asleep at the wheel right now? Like what's going on? Like
Ooh, bring that.
why are they so quiet and whatnot? And I don't know. Like personally, I like that. Like I don't want all these companies to do the same thing. Like I don't necessarily want Sony to do sort of their own version of Game Pass to follow in Microsoft's steps, and then I don't want Nintendo eventually to follow suit. I like that we have sort of these three companies sort of more so than ever kind of diverging and doing their own thing. Like Microsoft is definitely going more cloud Game Pass centric, or that's their, kind of focus right now, as opposed to Sony, who's definitely keeping more traditional hardware. Big exclusives are sort of their deal, and they're doubling down on that with what you're seeing is happening within internally, them kind of growing internally, doubling, Gorilla, Santa Monica, all these different teams. And Nintendo is doing Nintendo. They will always be their own,
Have
weird,
their own
unique,
field.
quirky, thing, charging
Yeah.
$60 for remasters that barely add anything. So they'll keep doing their own thing.
Not even remasters. They're just ports.
Oh, right. How could I forget? But yeah. So like, I don't know. That's just me. I'm okay with these three companies diverging and doing their own thing, because I don't necessarily need to have, like, I could get, I could get what I need from Sony while also getting something entirely different from Microsoft. Like, I don't need all of them to be doing the same thing. But Macho, how
Yeah.
do you feel about this whole topic of Sony asleep at the wheel, them being quiet right now and whatnot?
Well, I think it's half true. And what I mean by that is like they are aware of what's going on, but I'm getting the inkling that they just don't care, and it has like an air of arrogance to it, where like they're not reading the writing on the wall when it's clearly in plain sight. And I feel like I feel like they that damn weed whacker. um, I feel I feel like if they keep going like the way they are now, where they kind of just have bad move after bad move. And what I mean by bad moves is the fact of shutting down the Japan studio, the really obtuse game and save data migration from PS4 to PS5. The fact that they essentially really don't have an answer to Game Pass besides just their quality games are coming out on a pretty frequent basis, but what happens when we're in those dry periods where there is nothing to play and we're just getting bad news from PlayStation, like the PlayStation Store shutting down for legacy consoles, like all that stuff is adding up now, and people are changing their perception of PlayStation, where they're going to choose the other over PlayStation now, which is fine because like if you want to play your games, and we're in this to have fun and all that stuff. But for PlayStation to turn around, kind of like the mindset that they're going in a downward trend, they have to really bring their A game. And I feel like they haven't really been doing that for the first part of 2021 now. It's been kind of really lackluster. And we're just kind of finding games to play rather than looking forward to the next game. I mean, we have Eternal, but that's in April. I mean, I know we're in April right now, but still, it's like 4 months where you kind of just left hanging for like a really big AAA Sony exclusive. And now we have this idea with this situation with Game Pass where MLB is going, and it's a Sony made game. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing. So I feel like, again, I don't feel like they're asleep at the wheel, but I feel like they're ignoring too much and taking too long to drop some bombs to make the fan base excited again. Because I mean, we'll get into it later, but another announcement I have for a PlayStation exclusive that got a delay. So so
But I mean,
again, I'm excited for the games, but like and I know Microsoft is in that situation where like they have to make these banger announcements because they've just been on the downward trend for a long time.
yeah.
But
Here, here's here,
I like to see these companies fight, man. I like to see them
here,
trade some blows.
Yeah. Are you
here's
not entertained?
here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. Like I feel like, so like we spent what the last 7 years like on Microsoft's ass, man, because like
Winning.
let's face it, like they had their worst generation in their history yet. Not in terms of like revenue and money that they made, but in terms of like, you know,
Producing games, yeah.
yeah, without a doubt their worst. Um,
Oh, there were games? Haha, psych. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys.
so you have like people got used to that. People got used to the constant flaming them and giving them smoke and whatnot. And so now once we have this thing where hey, they're doing some good things uh and whatnot. I think people are getting antsy because of that, because it's just not what we're used to. We're so used to giving Microsoft that smoke that the minute that they start having some good news, it's like it's foreign to people. It almost feels like we're in an alternate like reality, right? Um, and see, like the thing about Game Pass is that I feel like not many people like really talk about is that like having Game Pass essentially allows you to be in the news cycle like essentially every week. Um, because what you had with the Bethesda stuff, aside from the acquisition stuff, Bethesda, you had the announcement of all their games being available in Game Pass. So you had that,
Yes,
and
sir.
then you followed that with the whole ID at Xbox event or whatever. All those games, tons of indie games, all those going to Game Pass. Um, and then after that, you have Outriders that announced being day and date in Game Pass. After that, you have MLB being day and date in Game Pass. So like having Game Pass like immediately means that you're in the news cycle week after week after week, and you couple that with new games that are coming into Game Pass. That announcement that happens all the time as
Yeah,
well.
it's
So
great over here.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you're just every week it's just good news after good news for them. Um so you have all that just building on top of one another, and yeah, like I said, Xbox is now just like constantly having mind share more than I feel like they've ever had before. And then so you take that within the context of yeah, Sony being quiet, and yeah, it only makes Sony's silence amplified because Xbox is just always in the news cycle now. And I would just like I would remind people that like hey, Sony was quiet last year too. They didn't really talk, they didn't have like their first major event or drop any bombshells, quote unquote, until their PS5 reveal event in June. Like, do you guys remember the first thing that they really had in 2020 that they uh like really talked to us about was that behind closed doors GDC um event thing with Mark Cerny. I remember they were quiet for like I think all the way up until like May, or might have been March, and they come out with a tweet and they're like, "Hey, join system architect Mark Cerny for a deep dive into PlayStation 5." And people were so hyped. They were so hyped about a goddamn breakdown of the system because it was dry, because we didn't hear anything from Sony in months. And then and then what happened? That came out and nobody nobody liked it because it wasn't what we wanted. It wasn't about games. It wasn't about new announcements. Whatever. And Jayhawk brings a good point. Yeah, Octopath coming to Game Pass as well. Um, so we
That
had
that's yeah, that's another big get.
yeah, so we had that happen, and it wasn't until June, like I said, that they actually, started talking about PS5 in meaningful ways. Um, and
Well,
so
the thing is like the sorry to cut you off, but
yeah,
like
go ahead.
the silence on PlayStation is not really what bothers me, right? Because we did, like you said, we did that all last year,
Yeah.
and it
And,
was just a
and when
matter of
and when they
waiting for them
talked,
to speak up.
and when they talked, people it was like okay, everything is fine. Like once they actually started talking, it was like okay, now everything is fine because they showed us what we wanted to see. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
What were you
exactly.
saying?
Yeah. Well, no, the thing. So exactly, like when they talked and everybody heard, and that's like we got that satisfaction. Like, all right, we finally got what we wanted to hear. But the thing is, like, the silence wouldn't bother me this much this far into 2021, if it wasn't coupled with like the bad news, like the shutting down of the Japan studios and the shutting down the PSN stores for the legacy consoles and a couple of other stuff that just like on top of that, like the indie forefront, right? Because like that damn weed whacker. Um, the PlayStation has always supported indies, but like they are just not getting the heavy hitters other than like Fall Guys from like what was it last year?
Nah,
Yeah.
I would disagree with that. I feel like their indie
Oh,
initiative
and the
has
Disco
been.
Elysium too, but
Yeah, I feel like and Genshin, I would say that's independent as well. Maquette just came
Yeah.
to PS5 on PS Plus. Like I feel like Oddworld is an indie title as well. I would classify it as that. Like I feel like Solar Ash is coming. What's its name? Kena Bridge of Spirits. Stray.
yeah, but
All of these
what about
Annapurna.
Hades though?
That's one title.
Like the big
That's
hitters.
one title in a sea of awesome indie games that are coming out on PlayStation. Like I understand. Like yeah, Hades is would be dope to have, but at the same time, yeah, like there's still like a sea of really cool indie titles that are still coming out. Like people were complaining that there was like no or little focus on indie titles with PlayStation's like previous shows and whatnot, but like the last few events or whatever were filled with awesome looking indie titles. So like I don't know, like I disagree when people say that that PlayStation isn't focused on or they aren't bringing the indies or whatnot. I don't know.
It's a layer. It's a situation that's layered because when it came to like the PSN showing up for PS Vita, a lot of developers, I'm sure, took that to heart when they weren't warned beforehand
Yeah.
about the shutting down. And I was listening to Colin Moriarty's podcast, where he's a Vita developer and a game developer, and he has a couple of developer friends that are saying to him that they don't have faith in PlayStation that they're going to do right by them.
Yeah.
That's a problem
Yeah,
because
definitely.
they're the market leader, and when you can't rely on the market leader, you're gonna go to the one that's going to give you the bag, and that's Nintendo and Microsoft.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I do agree with you that they are releasing a lot of great indie titles that are like kind of have the appearance of like a double A game more
Hmm.
than like an actual like indie title.
Hmm.
But I feel like there's another side to that situation where they are not meeting and disappointing developers to the point where they're going to turn them away, and that's what I don't want because
Yeah.
I don't want them to turn away Super Giant Games and on Hades in their next game because it doesn't fit their template or it doesn't they're not contacting them or not keeping communication with them. And that can go with any developer. You never know what's going to be the next big game.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's like my worry on that. But yeah, it's just the bad. Back to the what I was bringing before. It's just the bad news coupled like with the silence that is infuriating more. Than it is like, oh, PlayStation's gonna go away. They're doomed. Like they're dead. Like no, they're not. Stop being hyperbolic. It's honestly so annoying when I see people say stuff like that because it's so hyperbolic.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like we talked about it last week that yeah, that to me that was the dirtiest part of that whole thing was them like cuz apparently they did tell like the sort of like quote unquote big developers the big independent developers, but like it was the smaller
Yeah, I
ones
did see that.
like Lily Mo that they didn't tell for whatever reason. So yeah, that's undeniably like the worst part in it all. Um,
I
Walt,
agree.
how do you feel about this whole situation of Sony being quiet and whatnot?
I might I might be completely wrong because I'm trying to approach this in a humans factor kind of way. So the silence has been more noticeable since last summer, right? Uh, the pandemic hit pre-summer. Before that, Microsoft was the butt of the joke because of their lack of actual titles that hit in comparison with Sony. Sony, I might again. This is me trying to go from another perspective. I think that Sony never had to show through words what they demonstrated through games because they have such heavy hitters that we didn't really question many of the decisions that they make maybe made. Now, that's all falling through the cracks because their competitor, the butt of the joke, is was very much well equipped apparently to make all these decisions during the pandemic. But Sony has been, and this is not just Sony, every company has been struggling with delivering games in general that maybe required last year's, development or last year's work hours because of the pandemic and because everyone's working from home. So I think that Sony was not prepared for such a devastating year in terms of, the pandemic and all how many hurdles you had to overcome. But Microsoft, on the other hand, struggled so much for so many years. They were incubating this one baby, the Series X, the Game Pass, all these moves, all these great moves, and they're right now they're in the zone. But Sony not having any true heavy hitters, except for, at least for me, the last heavy hitter for Sony was The Last of Us, which was last summer, for me. But that's it. We're seeing some indies here and there. We got Returnal coming up, which next gen is an issue with so many people not being able to have the console. That's still a big thing. They're scarce in how they're delivering their consoles. At least that's been my experience. So I think this is the pandemic being a huge factor in how these companies have behaved. And because maybe Sony always demonstrated their worth through games, their silence comes as a shock because there's no heavy hitters. So you can't, again, how you mentioned, once they say one thing, once they just at least one tweet or one game, people are content and they're, okay, no, everything's fine. No, you're just sad because you're seeing the opposite side get so many W's that you're worried for. There's nothing to be worried about. They're not asleep at the wheel. They're gonna keep making fantastic games regardless. I just think that this is just a shining moment. I think Microsoft deserves this. They needed this. They needed this big W or these consecutive W's. But I do think that the human factor side of working at home, the pandemic, the not being prepared well enough, whether you're Microsoft or Sony, impacted. I don't know. That's my take on it. I think that it's the human side, the human factor side of things did influence it quite a lot. So this is not their silence, again, is noticeable because the lack of heavy hitters. But again, once we enter Horizon, God of War, Returnal, we get all these fantastic titles, people are going to shut up. People are, and I say people, I mean not in a degrading way, the common folk, because news outlets are going to they're going to milk this up. And there's biases. There's news outlets that will side with Sony 100% of the time. We're a Sony podcast, but we're trying to be, as neutral as we can, because at the end of the day, it's business. There's people involved. Consumers are the same anywhere. You got variety everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I just disagreed with if PlayStation just start releasing those big banger games, that everybody's just gonna be quiet. Because
which I do believe that. Yeah, I do. Because let's be real, they had a fantastic previous gen, and no one bat an eye because again, so many fantastic titles on the PS4. They didn't need to say anything.
Here's the thing, Walt. That those games can release and they'll more than likely be amazing, right? We're all hoping they're going to be a genre defining or at least year defining games. But those problems that they had and are having still exist, and that's
for sure.
And that's something we can't just ignore as a fan base. In my
not
opinion.
At all. By no means. We can put a blind eye. For sure.
I'm not saying we should throw our fists up in the air and bring our torches and our pitchforks to Sony headquarters. No. I'm just saying that we can enjoy the games and we can revel in them, we can praise them. Excuse me. But we can also bring up the problems that are currently there. Yeah, like the whole saving game migration thing. That's it's to the people that it's affecting. It sucks. It's an inconvenience.
Mm-hmm. And when I mentioned, when I mentioned the hyperboles, because we mentioned earlier how people hyperbolize the situation, you guys, at least you two, from the time I've known you, Macho being the most recent that I've known, Jay I've known the longest. You guys have never been fanatics. You've never expressed an extremist view on something. We try to have a conversation and whatnot, but the reality of the matter, whether you're listening or not, you're on Twitter. There's a majority of people, not majority of people. There's a large portion of people, large, small, that are so vocal and they're so negative and they're so fanatic that it taints the image of what goodwill other consumers have and how fair we actually are and try to be, with these multi-million-dollar companies.
I agree. Yeah.
But the reality of the matter is, this silence, I'm glad that these problems are arising because this gives Sony a chance to think about how they approach communicating with their audience, because they didn't have to because of so many bangers, but now they're realizing, oh, wait, if we don't have a game out, wait, are we supposed to tell people? Like, are we supposed to inform them on what we're doing, on our moves? They're like, oh, wait, but games, this is a good opportunity for the people to realize, you need to fix your shit. You know what I mean? It's a matter of, I think that there's good things and bad things that stem from all this situation. Obviously, one outweighs the other depending on who you are. But for me, just get feedback. Don't attack people. Not to you guys, but like to listeners. Like don't attack other people that have different views of you. Don't be a fanatic. Try to look at this as objectively as you can. Inform yourself. Try to think about the whys and the hows and the whens and the whats of everything. Try to be a bit more critical with the information you're given. And that's the end of my rant.
Do you guys think this because I don't think so. I don't think Sony gives a flying fuck right now. But
and that's unfortunate if that's the case.
But to my point, what I was gonna say, do you guys think this makes Sony budge at all? Like, sure, you could call it stubborn or them being arrogant or what have you, but do you think this honestly makes them diverge from their sort of tried and true path of just sort of like not necessarily sticking the course, but just like letting the game speak for themselves? Do you think that changes in any way, that they're going to become more reactionary or whatever? Do you think that changes?
I feel like they like to play the long game. So we're not going to see any kind of reaction until maybe a couple of years down the line, maybe next year. But I don't think they're going to be like, here's MLB The Show on PlayStation Plus or PS Now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they're going to be like that.
Yeah,
So,
I want you to guys
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Ryan looked at everything and started wiping his ass with it.
So I want you guys to correct me on this. Sony, where the majority of their decisions, do they stem from American-based locations or Japan-based? I want to have that clear.
I would not be in a position to make that that call. I don't know.
Wait, repeat that. What'd you say?
So Sony, they have headquarters, in different places. Do their biggest decisions stem from their headquarters in the U.S. or in Japan?
Well, I think it'll be Europe now, because Jim Ryan. Yeah, Jim Ryan. I think he was the head of the EU division.
Yeah.
And
okay. So
right now he's a bigwig. So I think a lot of his business decisions will come from, a place from there.
But then at the same time,
Okay.
I think they I think 2016 maybe was when they officially moved the headquarters from Japan to San Mateo. I think that's where it's located. So yeah, I don't know. It's either Europe or the U.S. But go on, Walt. What were you saying?
Because I want to, this is this is less game related, but more, human related. Does this mentality of business? Some of it has to do with how culturally different their business approaches are, right, or not?
Because
Microsoft is
to that point,
US-based.
it feels very Nintendo like, which people
and that's my point.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point. Because Sony originally, right? Japan. Everything, a majority of their influence. Now, you think Nintendo, they're very antiquated in how they approach things. They give you this false sense of scarcity with Mario. Oh, it's not available anymore. It'll be available eventually. They urge people to buy shit and whatever. Now, this is I want to make like an analogy, like a comparison. But the fact that so many, and not because Japan is influencing any of this, but in terms of differences in cultural and business culture, in Japan they still use fax machines. Like, that's a big thing that they do there. Now, what point am I making? There's a lot of philosophies that they have there in approaching business that's very antiquated. Now, I don't know if that has to do with how culturally different handles things. I think there's something there. There's something there that just they're not reading the room. They're not realizing that at least the U.S., as vocal as we are, they love transparency. They love engagement. They love the fact that companies are, how Wendy's, they have their PR and Twitter, and they have all these people like interacting with fans and with customers and whatever. They like this. They like the engagement, the interaction. It seems like Sony still has this mindset that business, you take what you get. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's giving me that impression. I could be completely wrong, but that's the impression I'm getting as approaching it from that side of the spectrum, in more culturally different businesses. But
Yeah, it's like I said, they definitely been like very Nintendo of as of late.
Yeah, very antiquated for sure.
Which yeah, I don't know, because like similarly to Nintendo, like I feel like they don't really talk that much. The difference is that they have sort of a I don't even know if I would consider it consistent, but they do have like Nintendo Directs at a somewhat frequent basis, and I guess that's sort of their major way of getting into contact with their fan base, but in a similar
they
way
literally start a state of play, which is the same as the Nintendo Direct. Like they're imitating,
But like yeah, in a similar way, they're very much like stubborn, just like Nintendo is. I don't know what what that means, but I don't know. That's just something I've kind of noticed about the two.
Yeah, I do think I do wanna like on my own, and I'll come back to you on another episode, maybe next week, maybe in a month. But I really want to research how their businesses approach and how their philosophies differ culturally, and how. Yeah, I want to investigate. I want to research that more. I could make that a thesis. I could. Huh. I'm gonna think about that. I might mix video games, business, and like companies and psychology, and make like a dissertation in the future or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what that goes, guys. This is just a random thought.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I guess to wrap this up, like I don't think this it to the point of does Sony need to be more sort of like reactionary or whatever. I don't think anything that Microsoft is doing is going to force like Jim Ryan is sitting in his office and is thinking like panicking and is like, oh, we gotta do something like right now. Like I don't think this in any way, shape, or form forces Sony or means that they need to immediately drop a Horizon trailer or a Final Fantasy 16 trailer or a new Ratchet and Clank trailer. Like I think they're just
Because
gonna
when it drops, it hits.
yeah, and I think they'll very much sort of just like stay the course, and they'll save all that stuff for their big showcase that they'll have probably in the summer and whatnot.
Speaking of summer,
I just want well, sorry, just real quick. I just want them at least to be a little more
transparent.
a little more transparent, and just I don't know. I feel like if third parties are gravitating towards Game Pass, indies are gravitating towards Game Pass, and that means that PlayStation is going to be losing out on a lot of stellar titles, and I don't know. That's what I don't want to see. Where like not everybody can play a third party title on their platform of choice, which we've been seeing for forever. But that's like the one thing I just wish I wish third party exclusive just stopped happening. It's
Wait,
so
No,
annoying.
and to yeah, no,
Wait,
for
so-
sure.
so
No,
you're-
I was gonna agree to that.
So you're afraid of like third parties exclusively going to like Game Pass and not releasing on PlayStation?
No, it's more of the, like in general. Like I wish Final Fantasy 16 could be played on everything.
Oh, okay.
And same with Final Fantasy 14, all that stuff. Because like when 7 Remake released on PS4, I'm like, great, I can play it. But the thing is like, but what about the like? I want other people to play it too. Like this game is great. Like you know, so like. That's why MLB The Show coming to Xbox on this. Like it's great. Like I said, I've said before, it's great for the consumer and it's awesome. But yeah, it's just a bad look for PlayStation. It's really
Yeah.
All right.
But they don't need us to tell them about it. They're big boys. They know what they're doing.
yeah.
All right. So I think we exhausted that topic long enough. So speaking
Just
of
transparency.
speaking of summer showcases, let's get into E3 2021. Walt, you said you had the details about that, correct?
I do have it. I literally woke up today and saw this because I did not know because I was out the loop for a minute. E3 going digital this summer. It will return in person next year. I don't know about that last one, Chief, but the first half, that seems pretty plausible. So, when's it taking place? From the 12th to the 15th year as a free reimagined all virtual event. What do you guys think about that? Do you like this? You like digital? You like this?
It was honestly the digital events for last year were kind of lackluster.
Yeah. They got quite a lineup.
The Fan Fest was a great idea from Jeff Keighley. I think he's awesome, like host and everything.
I don't.
But
I will never.
that went on for a little too long.
I will never
Wait, what was that,
understand. I will never understand why that man gets slander. Like,
Yeah,
It's,
Haters, man.
I cannot
Haters.
fathom it.
It's
yeah.
because
No, he's a hustler, man. He's great.
he got slander when he was featured in Death Stranding as like a hologram or whatever,
Yeah,
or like a statue. I
It's
don't.
like, who cares, man? Like Conan
Yeah.
was in the game too. Like, who
I
cares?
saw
Yeah.
that too. It was hilarious seeing that. I'm not gonna lie. I saw that actually while I was playing it, and I was like, oh, it's Conan. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Great stuff.
companies, you got Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, and Warner Brother Games. Sony is notably missing from that list so far.
Once again,
Which is not surprising.
Huh? No.
yeah, once again,
Come on.
yeah, once again.
Because they didn't.
Sony,
And
you're
then they-
making it
they-
hard,
they-
guys.
Yeah, they've been really like backing away from showcases like that ever since they canceled PlayStation Experience.
Well,
Man.
specifically E3, because they had. You remember
Yeah.
last year too that they were going to PAX. Their Last of Us Part 2 was sort of the big thing that they were doing at PAX last year, but then the pandemic.
I
hit,
know. I was
and-
excited to get hands on it.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I obviously not surprising at all. They're like does EA does stuff at like E3, but they're not specifically like tied to E3, right? Like they do their own like EA Play or whatever it's called.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah. So like
they do it during those days or after those
So-
days, I think.
So you can imagine, their sports lineup is going to be there. I have a heavy prediction that the next Alice game is going to be there from Alice Madness Returns.
I pray.
I know. I'm hoping too, but the guy Alice, what's his name?
American McGee.
American McGee. Yes, he has been. I think he's
He's been streaming.
been streaming talking about like the next Alice game. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
that EA maybe say something about that. Maybe give us an update because he's been getting small updates, but not anything really substantial. And then hopefully the next Jedi Fallen Order game will be in there.
For sure. I mean, it's E3. It's digital. Do you think anything major will change? I mean, aside from the physical aspect, they did mention, I think, that they were gonna make an app available for the public where you can like participate and like give input and like watch the live feed and whatever. I don't remember where I read. Let me check if it's here on this one. No, it's just announcing the digitalization of E3. But I do know that there's an app. Let me check. Take it away, guys. Stall for me.
Well, I think that I'll be the monkey today. I think one of the things they're gonna have a little bit of trouble with is pacing. If they don't have a correct amount of pacing, then it's just gonna be not as exciting. But if they kind of nail reveals and then save like I think that what they did before anyway, where they have the showcase from a specific publisher or developer, and they show all the games that they're working on and new reviews, surprises, and all that. And then afterwards, they have the talk to the developers, a little bit of insider stuff. PlayStation did that a lot too, where they had like their specific game announcements, and then they'll bring some of their developers to the side, and then other third-party developers, and just basically kind of talk about the game and what's going on and all that. So I think if they stick to like that like method, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know if you guys noticed amongst the companies who are showing up, a little company known as Konami is gonna be there.
Bro, you took the words out of my mouth. I was like, yo, like in my mind, I was like,
Pachinko machines.
Yeah.
Cha-ching, bro, bro. Okay. So not even.
Walt's excited.
During because there's the thing, because I think Konami, it's automatic. I think Kojima, but he's not involved with that. But like, there's also been talks on Twitter, at least rumors that Kojima is in the talks with who was it? Was it Sony or Microsoft about a game?
Microsoft, yeah, they're in talks with Xbox, yeah.
Do you think? Wait, was he announced for the lineup? No,
not yet. Again, it's all rumor, but like but we know where you're going with that.
But for Konami, do you think they're butchering another title, or they're making actually something good?
I have no idea, because I think because there's sort of that I don't even know if you would consider it a rumor, but because it's been sort of like corroborated by a lot of people that Konami has been licensing out their IPs. It's heavily been rumored that Sony is working on a Silent Hill. In terms of their other IPs, who knows where those could land? But if they are showing up at E3, maybe we see a weird, unlikely pairing like Ubisoft making a Metal Gear game or something like that. I don't know.
Bro, what?
Which hey, Splinter Cell, they're the makers of Splinter Cell. I don't know.
But you see how Ubisoft has been changing so much their approach in gaming. I don't know how they would. I mean, if they tackle, their latest, their most recent tactical shooter was Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Breakpoint, yeah. I don't want my Metal Gear to be like that. You know what I mean?
We got a lot of slander for Ubisoft over here.
Ubisoft got a soft.
So,
but like, in terms of what Konami might do, Christ.
What do you think? God. What do you think, Macho?
As far as
Konami,
yeah.
I mean, if they're licensing out their IPs, and let's see where that goes. I mean, I'm not really a big Konami fan, but I mean, I think of like as far as like some really cool stuff we can see. Getting the Capcom guys to work on a Castlevania game, similar to the PS3 titles. That could be pretty cool. Or another Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, I think it's called.
Damn, that would be
with Ryder.
Yeah. So I think with what their IPs are very iconic, but they also have like a kind of like an old man feel to them, where like it's like they're pretty classics, right? They're like they go back into like the
back in my day,
the olden days of gaming, but they're still really relevant because they're so influential. So I think one of the biggest ones though is Silent Hill. I feel like a lot of people are waiting for another Silent Hill game. So Like that like ever since Kojima and Norman Reedus had like that Silent Hill teaser at the end of PT, I feel like no one has stopped talking about it.
Yeah,
And they're
dude,
not gonna stop
It's only a
talking
matter
about
of
it.
time.
and we
Yeah, it's only
can
a matter of time.
and we can touch on this a little bit, but that abandoned PS5 game.
Yes.
They people on Reddit were literally theorizing that this was a secret Kojima game, and
No.
those
No.
poor souls at that studio had to come out with a statement like, no,
No.
this is not a
They're
Kojima game.
trying.
We're a real studio. Like, damn.
They just brought out the meme of Trump just saying you're wrong.
Yeah, basically.
Oh man, that's sad.
Yeah,
It's an
I
interesting
can see
looking
why
game.
they'll say that, but still, that's far fetched.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it looks. I'm not a huge fan of photorealistic games. You know, when they have that approach of like actual people and actual like photorealistic environments. Uh, it looks interesting. I didn't like the voiceover as much. It was all right. It was felt very cheesy.
Yeah, I lost focus as soon as like it started happening. Really.
When you're in the forest, and I'm like, oh no, this is giving me Destiny 1 vibes. They're talking about give me ammo and stuff. No, this ain't it, bros. But
Yeah.
hey, we'll see where it goes. Maybe it's a cult classic. I don't know. It turns into a Visage type of thing where it's super scary. Oh, I don't know.
No, they kind of nailed like the nail on the head with when they're talking about in the PlayStation blog post calling it atmospheric survival horror. Like it's
Love
absolutely
it.
absolutely has like the setting down packed. Like that's probably gonna get me immersed in the most.
It reminded me of Chernobyl. The not the actual area of the planet and the buildings, but like the surrounding, snow-covered, irradiated area. It gave me that kind of feel. I don't know. Give me Metro vibes too. That kind of like apocalyptic, irradiated, snowy area. I don't know. We'll see
Yeah,
what it is.
what'd you think about it, so?
um, I don't know, man. Like teasers are so weird, and that one kind of like did like the only thing that was like interesting to me was it's survival horror. Like, yeah, that sounds for that alone, I'm behind it. But like the trailer itself didn't really like do much for me. Like, yeah, it looks nice, but like I feel like I needed
Yeah, but
something.
that's it.
I needed something more to grasp onto, and it like there really wasn't much in that teaser to. I know it's a teaser, but there just wasn't much for me to really latch on to get excited about. Which, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it it wasn't Callisto Protocol levels of teaser.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was a teaser, but yeah.
yeah, for sure. Um, okay. Let's talk about speaking. Hey, man, I'm on fire um the transitions, man.
Oh
Speaking
yeah.
of PS5 exclusives, let's talk about Remedy Entertainment possibly working on a PS5 exclusive. Um,
Remedy.
oh man. Um, so we had some reports of people. I don't know how people honestly like. Do they just wait on LinkedIn just like all day? Just like
Yes,
like
yes, yes, they do.
that's crazy. Because like I started following this guy who has been posting these developers who are joining PlayStation Studios recently, and who are also joining Haven Entertainment. And I'm just like, how are you doing this? Like, I don't know. It just seems so tedious and boring to actually like sit with a tab open, just scrolling through LinkedIn to see, oh, this guy left Turn 10 and now he's joining Sucker Punch or Santa Monica or whatever. And I'm just like, man, I just do not have the will for that at all. Um,
Maybe they got bots just scouring information, or someone that's just patient. I wouldn't.
yeah,
I
I don't
wouldn't be
know.
that patient.
But anyway, so reports from like a few Remedy job ad links have been shared by external producer at PlayStation Claire Bromley, as well as the company's COO Christopher Schmitz, Thomas Puha, who is the communications director at Remedy, He's also really, really cool on Twitter. And audio designer Sam Hughes. Um, so there was that kind of raised a few eyebrows, and then there was sort of this insider special ed on Twitter. He was talking on Twitter and said that yeah, Remedy does have a PlayStation exclusive title and that it is real. Um, so this kind of like we saw, I believe it was 2019, we saw Shu, he actually went over to Remedy, and people, naturally we're like, oh, this means PlayStation's going to acquire Remedy and whatnot. And so yeah, people were wondering like what brought about that visit. Also, I believe while she was over there, he also visited Housemarque. So I don't know. It's like these visits definitely, like there's a reason for them, right? They're not just over there for nothing. So it's cool to see that. So yeah, what do you guys think about this Remedy possibly making a exclusive for PlayStation 5?
I seriously hope it's a Marvel game, and that Marvel game is Doctor Strange.
Ew.
You said ew.
If I had if
You
I
said
had
ew.
if
How
I
dare
if
you,
I had
sir?
if I had
How dare you?
if I had the Kofi fart button, I would be farting on that right now.
How dare you,
Wow.
sir?
Is that Marvel or is Doctor Strange slander?
um, Both?
Yeah, it had to be. Yeah, yeah. What?
Wow.
Because like
What?
I don't want, like, look, I don't deny that they would be a great option for that, but I don't want, I don't know, I'm apprehensive about teams working on licensed titles. Like if it were up to me, I want all teams working on original stuff. Like same with Insomniac. Like yeah, Spider-Man's great, but like I would love for them to do, a title of their own. Because look, because what just happened with MLB, man? You're never in control of those licenses that you're working on. Um,
Well, that's the thing. I think what I think at this situation where Microsoft made the mistake of not owning the IP to Sunset Overdrive.
yeah, yeah. I believe Insomniac owns it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So if we're like a new IP, yeah, I feel like if it's gonna be like a PS5 exclusive from Remedy, someone be like, "We have this idea, we want you to work on it," something like that. But like if it's Marvel going up to them, and then Marvel and Sony are buddy buddy, and they're like, "Yeah, make a Doctor Strange game, and it'll be a PS5 exclusive." I can see that. Like I can see that happening. As far as like if it actually happening, I highly doubt it. But like my Marvel fanboy side wants to be like, yeah, let's have them make this Doctor Strange game because it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I
But a new IP, I'm always up for too.
definitely. And sort of the crazy thing about Remedy is that I think somebody called them like the platinum games of like the West or something like that. And it's like you look at how
Yeah.
many projects that they have their hands in, and it's like that
Yep.
analogy kind of makes sense because we know they have a project, they have two projects actually in the works for Epic. Um,
Yep. They're working on 5 as of right now,
yeah,
apparently.
so there's that, and they have the Crossfire X thing that they're doing. Um,
Yeah, Crossfire HD.
apparently Alan Wake 2 is a thing that's happening. And then there's this PS5 exclusive that apparently I'm not too sure about this, so don't quote me on
Could it be
this.
Max Payne?
Uh, I doubt
No,
it.
I don't think so.
But that
I think that's
this
Rockstar. I think Rockstar
yeah,
owns
yeah,
them.
yeah, they own it. But
Gotcha,
that
gotcha.
this PS5 exclusive is being worked on the Control team, so don't quote me on that. But I think that's kind of the consensus. But yeah, they have their hands in a lot of pots, man.
So Control 2 or another IP?
I don't think it would be Control 2 because that's five. Well, I don't know if 505 owns the IP, but that's a 505 published game, so I don't know.
Mm.
I wouldn't be too sure about that. Um,
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, I'm sure people are gonna have their grounds to the ear on it, or grounds to the ear to the ground on it.
Yes, exactly.
Because
Exactly.
they really made a name for themselves in the past couple of years, and
Yep.
While I tried out Control on PS4, and I was definitely rushing through it, so I didn't really give it like a fair chance. I'm gonna play it on PS5. I'm excited for it. From what I hear, from what I see, and people talking about it, I see people getting the platinum in the game.
Yeah,
So,
It's easy. It's an easy platinum.
oh, is it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's not a hard
I
platinum.
think I have like a few trophies left in it.
Yeah, it's more complex. The story is more complex than the actual platinum. But yeah, it's an interesting story.
Honestly, if I can get through Death Stranding, I feel I can get through any damn like game with it.
Yeah, no, it's not that level of complicated. It's not that level.
Yeah.
It's a great game. It was my game of the year in 2019. I love that game. My first Remedy game also. It was great stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll definitely play that later this month then.
Yeah, it's great. Um, okay, so I think that's pretty much it for that, and I think that is going to do it for the podcast as well. Um,
Well, we got one more thing. Did we talk about it?
what?
What?
Deathloop?
Oh, right.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
Right,
so
we didn't talk about it, right?
no, we did not talk about it.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, Deathloop, the PS5 console timed exclusive from Arcane is has been delayed. I actually don't know. I feel like they said it was coming out in May, but even I'm kind of like shaky on that. Um but it was originally supposed to come out earlier in the year, and now it has been delayed to September 2021. So what's your guys' thoughts on this?
Well, just to kind of break down like their reasoning,
Yeah.
I'll say in quote that they're committed to quality and preserving our team's ambitions for Deathloop while ensuring the health and safety of everyone at Arcane. So it's nice that they're coming at it from like a human side, as we talked about before, where they're thinking about their developers, and they just basically just want the extra time just to give it polish and give players a great experience, but also adhere to the health and workload, I guess, that comes with it, of being a pandemic, stuff like that. So good on them.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
I
Go-
I echo exactly that, because if that's their reasoning, if they're taking care of their own, hey man, and I'm all for delays. I literally am all for delays, because that just implies they're refining, they're just taking care of their employees, they're sorting out stuff, they're making sure that their product is in top-notch condition. Most of the time, not always, but it's always a good thing when a delay happens. Not in that sense, but like more in the company wise. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad.
I'm willing to wait however long it takes. I've been on record saying that Arcane is not only my favorite Bethesda studio, but they're one of my favorite studios in general. So I know no matter how long this game takes, it's gonna be worth the wait. So take as long as you guys as you need, and I'll be there day one for sure. Um,
So loyal.
yeah, man, that's what happens when you make good games, man. Um,
Yeah, no, definitely. That's why I'm still here in front of FromSoft's,
Big
gate.
facts.
yep.
I'm waiting.
Um, so yeah,
Big facts.
that's and COVID and all that stuff. That this is par for the course for this year, unfortunately. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I think that's probably going to do it for the podcast today. Thank you guys for joining us. Everyone who was watching, we appreciate it. Throw us a like and possibly subscribe. Consider subscribing. We would greatly appreciate it. Even like I said, even just a like will help us out a ton. Help us get out there a little bit. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us. What you guys got going on this week? Any articles planned? Any games you guys looking forward to sinking your teeth into? What's going on?
So, I gotta manifest this, because if I don't do it, I'm holding myself down. But considering next week is spring break, in my case, because of Uni, I am making myself like jump back into it, and whether that's a news or opinion, I want to get something out today. So just be on the lookout for that.
Oh,
I'm gonna look for
Macho.
something.
This is a momentous occasion, man. Walt is returning to to the pen and paper, man. I haven't seen this in what feels like an age, man.
An age longer
Yeah.
than Sony's transparency,
Oh
right?
man. Oh
Oh
man.
man. No,
Oh
no.
man, let me get the Modelo, let me get the Terramana. The Rock, hit me up,
Oh,
man.
ooh, ooh.
Sponsor us. The Rock, sponsor us.
Yes,
DualShock and Sense
please.
exclusive.
Yep.
But yeah, be on the lookout. That the Twitter handle will be down in the description. At Walt Lando on Twitter. I'll be retweeting that once I figure out what it's gonna be. I don't know. I'm gonna dive in the internet. I'm gonna search all the crevices, all the cracks, everything.
Oh man.
Might be something super normal. Might be something spicy. I don't know. You gotta stick around for that. So follow me on Twitter if you want to check that out. Now, what games am I gonna play? I'm not gonna be at home today. No, tomorrow. Just tomorrow, I think. Yeah. So my Switch is gonna be along with me. So what am I playing? Possibly Tales of Vesperia, more JRPG goodness. After I finish this podcast, I probably might play a little bit of Mario Kart while I listen to some videos for a class, just to do something. But yeah, aside from that, there's not really any. I'm playing Fable. I started that, playing more Outriders, and continuing my playthrough of Alice Madness Returns because I still haven't finished it, and I'm loving that game.
Hey, Walt, are you getting ready for Returnal on April 30th?
Yeah, man, I am so ready. I am day one watching a Let's Play for that. I am day one. I am. Listen, man. I'm trying, man. I'm trying
God.
to. I'm on.
Yo, Walt's gonna get his PS4 controller, look at the computer screen, act like he's playing.
Oh man. Now, if y'all can
God.
find if y'all can find a PS5 for me, by all means, let me know.
Hey man, we're gonna set up a GoFundMe for Walt's PS5.
Oh God.
Macho, what's going on with
Yeah.
you, man?
Yeah, so head to lordsofgaming.net for my review of Lost Words Beyond the Page. It Takes Two. Spoiler alert, it is I call it a masterpiece. One of my favorite games of 2021. Gave it a 10 out of 10. I think that's my first 10 out of 10 I gave on lordsofgaming.net, and yeah, that game is incredibly special.
Oh, bold.
It's really, really good. Still thinking about it to this day. And then also the review for Bravely Default 2. As far as planned pieces, not really sure what I have in the pipeline right now. I need a little bit of inspiration. I think Final Fantasy 14 might be that. New patch coming out next week, so I might put something up on that. And then as far as the games I'm playing, finishing up Death Stranding, and possibly, I think, yeah, getting into Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, the Assassin's Creed game of the month.
Nice.
That's my
Gonna get into
favorite.
that one. Yeah, gonna get into that one probably this weekend. So I'm excited for that. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I think that's it on my end.
Get it.
As for me, more Disco Elysium. Um, definitely gonna get some more time into that. Article wise, I'm. It's funny because I was working on a Last of Us Part 2 article, talking about the gameplay. I
Yeah, what
started.
happened with that one?
I started it and then I don't know, man. I just haven't touched it since.
What game? What
I
game?
feel you. I feel you.
Last of Us Part 2.
Oh.
Yeah, working on that for Lognet, but yeah, I don't know.
Howdy,
I
brother
was,
Wayne.
it's weird, man. Working for three websites, I kind of like strategically have to like pick and choose. Okay, today I'm gonna write for this website. The next day I'll write for this one. And so like I kind of like have to like plan it, you know, day by day or whenever news comes out. I have to pick and choose like for which site I want to write that for. Um, and I don't know, like there's times when I write so much that I just like I just don't want to write afterwards for like a little bit. So I don't know. I think I'm a little bit in that space, but I'll get back to it for sure. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And yeah, that's gonna do it for us. for the 8th episode of the DualShock and Sense podcast. Thank you guys for listening again, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.